Welcome everyone. This is our podcast and maybe we'll grow out of it. I'm Ashwika and today I want to talk about a specific character that really grew on me as the story continued. With that in mind, this episode will be filled with spoilers for the entire Haikyuu story, including the manga. So in case you are an anime only, I would not recommend listening to this entire episode. Though I can say this much, that this episode will be divided into 7 parts total, and the first 4 parts will not be containing any spoilers from the manga. So you can watch it or listen to it till there. However, beyond that, I will be going into manga spoilers very heavily. So I named today's episode Hinata Shoyo, a decoy who breaks the fourth wall. So let's get into it. You see, stories can mean anything to a being. It could be the thrill, the excitement, the understanding, the knowledge. But today I want to talk about such a tale and such a character that for me, more than anything, was an inspiration. What does it take to inspire, to motivate, to relate, to admire these mere lines in motion on a screen? Haikyuu is a story that makes our battlefield a volleyball court. It makes the monsters we face players. It is an anime that creates fist-punching moments, comedic scenes, action-packed battles on the court, and yet it manages to be one of the wisest and peaceful stories that I've come across. Hinata Shoyo, a character that was dismissed as just another shonen protagonist by me for a long time, seems to have grabbed me by the collar and demanded attention. Because while I could never relate to his overwhelming positivity or optimism, I realized there was more to him than meets the eye. He is someone who might seem as a perfect being at first glance, with his passion and hunger for volleyball, and his dedication and hard work to hone his skills. To top it off, Shoyo is a happy-go-lucky boy with great communication skills. So, what makes him so well written? Well, obviously, these are very aspiring traits to have. However, many times they seem too out of reach or too abstract to really be able to inherit them in ourselves. But Shoyo, I feel, grounds these traits and instead of preaching, shows us the value and benefits of creating good habits. Part 1. What does it take to win? From the first episode, we find out that the reason Shoyo wants to keep winning matches on court is because it brings him happiness and joy. But above all else, it is simply because he gets to play another match. He gets to stay on court even longer. When others complain after playing 2 sets, he thrills at the opportunity of being able to play 6. Every chance, every opportunity that lands on his lap, from training in a gym alone to playing at the nationals alongside Karasuno, he gratefully takes it. I understand that this attitude largely comes naturally and some of us may not possess it. We all want a break and that's fine. Because what I take away from this is not that I should be following my passion 24/7 without getting tired, but that I should stop complaining even if I get tired. I would like to share that if Shoyo hungers for volleyball, I hunger for the art of storytelling and music. And instead of looking for constant external awards, maybe I could start seeing writing a new book, article, song, or anything as an award itself. I finished writing 1 book, so that means I now get to write another book. I get to tell another story, and that is winning. Getting to do what you love, getting better at it, getting to simply experience the journey. That is winning itself. Part 2. Being good means being free. One of the best moments for Shoyo in Haikyuu is not when he spikes or serves or makes any offensive play, but when he does the perfect receive for the first time ever against the Inarizaki team. In that moment, Tsukishima makes a remark, saying that he just witnessed someone falling in love with volleyball even more than before. And even though the scene may look like some miracle, it is anything but. We know that Shoyo worked very hard, used his intellect and practiced every day to be able to receive in such a way. And this exact moment helped him fly even higher. The better you are at something, the more freedom, or for the lack of a better word, fun you can have. If you don't have a high aptitude in what you want to pursue, there is a chance that your passion for it may decline. After all, we don't follow our passion follows us. When Shoyo did the perfect receive or the perfect set or learned a new technique, he fell deeper in love. To give another example, if I talk about myself, I did not care about music for the longest time. But when I worked on a song for a whole month and performed in front of a crowd, in this process I learned new techniques, honed my skills, and finally went on the stage. I became better, which is why music became more fun and more freeing. It is as Bokuto said, the greatest have fun, then when you're having fun, you're the greatest. Part 3. Never underestimate what it takes to be a ball boy. One of my favorite training arcs I've ever watched is undoubtedly the ball boy arc. And this is because I have never related to Shoyo, yet never looked up to him as much as I did here. By this point of the story, everyone has heard of that shorty who made his way to the nationals. And Shoyo is probably aware of his status. But making him a ball boy amidst players he has literally beaten, I thought, man, that must have hurt his pride. It certainly did mine when I was in a similar situation. All I did was bow my head low in defeat and cut out the world around me. It was too painful to watch. But Shoyo, that boy did the exact opposite. So what if his pride got hurt? So what if the others looked down on him? So what if he wasn't on the court? His love for volleyball was greater than any of this. And he found a way of learning even if he was not playing a match. He mopped the floors, he filled the bottles, he collected the balls, yet he still learned, he still improved, he still practiced. He practically screamed at my face saying, I could have done that too. I could have learned from those better than me instead of envying them and being too prideful. And in this process, he gained the respect of those around him. After all, this world isn't deaf. If you're gonna scream, it will hear you. Part 4. No such thing as good enough. While it may not look like it, Shoyo is a more selfish character than you think. Unlike Nishinoya, who even quit volleyball because his best friend wasn't playing, I firmly believe that Shoyo would never do that. No matter what happens, he will never leave the court because he wants to win. But this selfishness is needed if he really wants to make it to the top. It is certainly not a crime to put yourself first. Tying in with the line said by Shiratori Sawa's coach that no matter how much we do or how good we are at doing it, for us there's no such thing as good enough. Shoyo will never be satisfied no matter how great he becomes. He will keep evolving and keep learning and never lose his hunger. This mentality helped me change my attitude yet again on something. Many a times if I worked on a story or a piece of writing, and if someone nitpicked it, sometimes I couldn't help but roll my eyes thinking, well, it's good enough though. But it shouldn't be good enough. No matter how well I write or do something, there will always be scope for improvement. There will always be another step to climb on. Part 5. One must continually discard one's strength. Now, I would like to talk about the last training arc and the brilliance of it in Haikyuu. Because in this, Shoyo literally learns a new sport altogether, beach volleyball. He travels across the world all alone and changes his entire lifestyle for the sake of this sport. He discards his strength and starts from scratch. He also learns to take care of himself more. He does yoga, reads books on building good food habits, goes to gym, meditates, and while doing all this, his teacher's words ring true to his ears. This is all volleyball. And I do believe that no matter what you're passionate about, taking care of yourself should always be a part of it. After all, if you are off the court because you got sick, then how can you win? And so he lives, eats, reads volleyball, getting better, getting freer. It is as Shoyo said, no matter how hard or easy the skill, getting good at something new, it's always fun. Part 6. Being okay becomes a habit. I love the fact that Shoyo left everything and everyone behind for 2 whole years because he had a better opportunity in Brazil. I had this mindset because of real life experiences that if you leave everyone behind to a foreign land, you're bound to end up alone. And while the path of success is a little lonely, with some effort and the right attitude, the chances of us finding friends is definitely possible. I know this might not seem like a big deal, but personally I have always been intimidated with the concept of loneliness. I also believed that you would have to lose all your loved ones to pursue this path, but not really. One thing about Shoyo that makes him very different from Kageyama is that he is a very social being, and while he's driven, he really enjoys interacting with others and making friends. He also puts a lot of effort in maintaining these relationships. But that doesn't mean he is afraid to take new opportunities, even if it requires some sacrifices. I like that. It really speaks to me on a personal level. It is also the first time we feel the weight of silence around him. But even that passes. Everything does eventually. Part 7. Beyond limited to only one way of being great. This above line is stated by who I consider the actual little giant of the story. One of the most unexpected scenes from the anime was probably when Shoya announced that he didn't want to be the little giant, but the greatest decoy. This symbolized to me that our path to greatness is not a concrete and linear one that we're destined to follow, but that we are capable of paving our own unique answer to what we see as greatness. Shoyo went beyond the stakes he had set for himself. He did not need to be like anyone. He had the capability of going as far and use the tools he has as he wanted. And that led to the birth of the greatest decoy. So, in conclusion, the journey I got to take alongside Shoyo Hinata is one I'm immensely grateful for. This is all that I took away from his character on this read, but I am sure there is even more to his character than what I covered. I can say this with full confidence though, that Shoyo isn't just someone who can inspire his teammates and opponents, but even his audience, by being nothing more than just a very determined volleyball idiot. Thank you for listening. We'll see you in the next episode.